this example, we're looking at a health service organization, and that organization is interested in the number of visits per person per year. We're told to construct a frequency distribution, a cumulative frequency distribution, a relative frequency distribution, and a cumulative relative frequency distribution. In our first and second column is our data set. The person number is just an identifying number. The second column is the visits per year for that particular person. In this case, person 1 visited 1 time, person 2 visited 2 times, and person 3 visited 5 times. So the first thing we want to do is we have our table already set up. The number of visits are broken down into a grouping of 0 to 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 11 visits. In order to make it simpler, we just click on the data in the observations cell, go over to sort and filter, sort from smallest to largest. Now we have all of our observations, or the visits per year, in sequence from smallest to largest. In our first class we have 0 to 2, so if we just highlight 0 to 2, we can go in and count them one at a time, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. But if we go down to our system status bar, on the bottom of your Excel window, your Excel dialog box, you'll see a listing that you can select. If you select numerical count or count, it will tell you that the count is 10. So in our first cell, under the number of people column, we have 10. Now we want to go and count the 3 to 5, so we can go in and count 3 to 5 merely by selecting those. Looking at the count here, we find that there are 7. Again, we could just as easily go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and count the observations, but it's a little quicker if we just highlight them. Next is 6 through 8, so let's highlight 6 through 8. Check our count. That also is 7. Fill in the 7. And then we have 1 observation from 9 to 11. Fill that in. Now we want to get a total, so we do equal sign sum to calculate out the formula. If we open up the parentheses or just hit tab, it'll open that parenthesis for you. Highlight the data. You can either close out the parenthesis or you can hit enter and it'll tally it up for you. You'll also notice that if you highlight all of those values and look in your status bar, you'll see a sum of 25 if you've selected that. Again, right click and you can check the checkbox for sum, and that'll show in the bottom for you. In order to calculate the relative frequency, we take the value in the column A of 10 and we divide it by the total number of people. So we can go type in equal sign, reference the cell. We could do it manually just by typing in the 10, but this will make it easier for later. So we're referencing the cell of F7 divided by the sum, which is what we have down here. Now again, you could just as easily put in the number of 25, but I want to show you a quick trick that you can do as well. Once we have the F11 in there, we hit F4. It puts a $ in front of the F and the $ in front of the 11. What that does is it tells Excel that this is going to be a fixed cell. Normally when I copy, which I just did by double clicking on that plus sign, when I copy the formula down, you'll notice that the first cell was F7 and then it adds or increments the cell reference for me so that the formulas work out right. But in this particular case, the sum formula is still in F7. If we didn't put the $ into the cell reference, it would have moved down and we would have had an F8 divided by F12, which would have given us a divide by nothingness, and we would have had an error. So that's how we get to the relative frequencies, and you'll see it copied down the border, which we can go ahead and fix that in a little bit.